There was one time that I was talking to my dad. I told him that I wanted to be the best Black woman composer, and he said, "Why do you want to just be the best Black woman when you could be the best, period?" That completely shifted my mindset. When you focus on being the best, your work ethic shifts and you kind of break ceilings naturally. My name is Emily Sankofa, and I scored The Other Black Girl. What's up, y'all? So I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I actually got my start as a kid, 2 years old, choir. When I was in college, one of my professors was like, "Your work is very cinematic. I think you should investigate film scoring." And I ended up going to the Savannah College of Art and Design to study sound design and all things film, sound, and music. So a group of me and my peers went from SCAD out to LA, and we would work on each other's films, and as everybody kind of grew and ascended through the industry, my name started to circulate. The plan was for me to move back to Atlanta. I knew that I needed to go to Los Angeles to get the skills to bring back here. The Atlanta film community is very small and tight-knit. There's so much opportunity for growth and expansion, and I'm excited to be at the forefront of that. When I heard the score for Get Out, that was actually the first time that I heard a unique compositional voice that somewhat aligned with mine. And so when Get Out came out, Michael Abels was still a teacher. So I found his email and I asked him out for coffee. And so pretty much we had coffee, he dropped some game on me, and I said, okay, I need an agent. And really things just completely took off from there. In the beginning, Rashida Jones was very instrumental in kind of like setting the tone, as well as the writers Jordan and Gus. And obviously, like when you're making a new show, there's no framework. So you're creating what the sound of the show is gonna be. And it's kind of like, we have to try it to see, we don't know. So this is all an experiment. Comedy and horror is a delicate balance. It could be completely lopsided. The showrunners and even Rashida, Gus, Jordan, they use ambiguity a lot, because the best way to actually create tension is to not define what's happening. Leaving people hanging is what gets the heart rate up a lot more. The music for The Other Black Girl is both comedic yet haunting. It's a conversation between comedy, thriller, and horror. So I'm a huge fan of using instruments in unconventional ways to kind of draw out the tension naturally. I might take a guitar and take a light bulb and run the light bulb against the string. You naturally get a sound that's uncomfortable. And a lot of times when I'm experimenting and I get chills, it's like, okay, that's it. I have this compositional technique where I use Morse code to build out elements within the score. I get to spell those things out musically. So Morse code is a series of dots and dashes. So this is my logo, right? This is the Morse code spelling of E. These 3 dots, the Morse code spelling of S, right? Right? That's the rhythm there. And I can really build so many combinations. It just allows me to constantly stay original. So for this score, I used a lot of melodic percussion. So that's vibraphone. The brass is used in very bizarre ways. Processed to completely remove the timbre that is signature to those instruments. Like, just throw it in the trash. This is something new. This series is set in New York, basically, and the subway is a big thing. Even when we're not on the subway, I'm taking strings and I'm morphing them into this screeching, like morph trains in the distance. A lot of my concepts I sing before I actually convert them to other instruments. It's just a matter of me using my voice as the primary way to execute ideas. And sometimes my voice ends up sticking because I like the way my voice sounds, but I also experiment with a choral group. I gave all of the vocalists a notepad. And so I drew out these shapes and asked them to interpret them, which is basically like that's a graphic score. The beauty of graphic scores is giving the vocalist some type of ownership over what they're expressing. And so every time I get something different, it just creates a lot of variation and gives me a lot of material to work with.
Have we learned nothing? Guys.
I really love the percussion in Friends in High Places, and this is when Nella is engaging with her friend and her boyfriend, and they're trying to get her to like snap out of being aloof about what's happening around her.
Bitch, I told you.
It's very clumsy in nature, but it's also accentuating like the potential danger. I like to say clumsy percussion because Basquiat, the painter, was very skilled, but when you look at his work, it looked like a child did it. One of my favorite cues is Nella's Big Moment. It has most of the ideas from the entire show in one cue. We have the vocal motifs happening. We have a lot of the synth stuff that I built out. It's almost like the heartbeat. There's a lot of percussive stuff happening there to kind of drive the tension and the heat of the moment where everything is coming to a head for Nella. She's basically putting all the clues together. You have her theme and Shani's theme, Richard, and just so many characters are coming into play musically in this one cue. In a lot of tribal African music, there's what's called call and response, right? And so that's integrated into a lot of my music. I use a lot of that into how I merge separate themes together. You have all of these different dynamics and things happening at once that are in conversation with each other, but also happening in their own little worlds that kind of make this cue really unique. So there are so many composers that exist from diverse backgrounds, and it's really a matter of just opening your eyes to see who's there, what they're working on. Catherine Bostic definitely paved the way. She was one of the first Black women composers. In 2018, I'll never forget, she said to me, "It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when." That has carried me through so many moments. So I just happen to be a Black woman. That's a very important piece of my identity that shouldn't be counted as a barrier, and that there are obstacles and things that you have to navigate, but it's possible to break those ceilings. I'm not afraid of the obstacles. I welcome it. I have a purpose. I'm here for a reason. I'm up for the challenge.